Hello, and welcome to an episode of Ramezah Reviews. Probably wondering, hey, what is this girl gonna review? I'm gonna be reviewing books I have read a lot this summer. It was one of my goals, just like read a lot of books because I am an avid reader. I love to read. Alongside just like learning languages, the Duolingo grind, and also just playing guitar, maybe drawing whenever I could. But yeah, I did end up reading a lot of books, and I thought today I would review a few and give you guys my thoughts, my opinions on the books that I read. And hey, if any of them look interesting, do go ahead and give them a read, and then in the comments let me know what you think. The very first book that I'm going to be talking about is my favorite. It's this one right here. It's called Hamnet. I'm starting with the best right at the very beginning. There's no saving the best for last here, because I want you guys to read this book. Alright, so it's called Hamnet. It's by Maggie O'Farrell. Just to give you an idea of how good this book is, without obviously, spoiling it or anything, I'm gonna read the blurb for you guys. So, on a summer's day in 1596, a young girl in Stratford-upon-Avon takes to her bed with a sudden fever. Her twin brother Hamnet searches everywhere for help. Why is nobody at home? Their mother, Agnes, is over a mile away in a garden where she grows medicinal herbs. Their father is working in London. Neither parent knows that Hamnet will not survive the week. Hamnet is a novel inspired by the son of a famous playwright, a boy whose life has all been forgotten, but whose name was given to one of the most celebrated plays ever written. When I tell you guys that this book is amazing, you just gotta trust me. Just based on this blurb alone, it's great, and I love it. If I had to rate it out of 10, it'd be an 11. Like I said, it's my favorite. Please give it a try. At first, when I first read it, I wasn't honestly all that taken aback with it. I wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is such a good book, right? Like, that was up until like maybe the second or third page, and then I got really hooked. So yeah, it's a great book. Highly recommend. It's called A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is a really good book. You are not going to expect anything, right? Okay? This book is like, expect the unexpected, okay? Like, the ending will take you by surprise. Also, something really interesting about this book is that it's illustrated by the same guy who illustrated the Harry Potter books, the illustrated versions. I think it's Tim K, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, it says here, right, Jim K. I was wrong. Illustrations by Jim K. So anyway, let me show you what the illustrations actually look like, because oh my goodness, they are really inky. It looks like this. This is the monster. It's a really, really good book. It's going to make you cry. Like, that much I can say with guarantee. It's going to end up leaving you in tears. The book itself is amazing. It's about this kid in England, and his mom has cancer. Let me read the blurb again. So, the monster showed up just after midnight, as they do. But it isn't the monster Connor's been expecting. He's been expecting the one from his nightmares. The one he's had nearly every night since his mother started her treatments. The one with the darkness and the wind and the screaming. This monster is something different though, something ancient, something wild, and it wants the most dangerous thing of all from Connor. It wants the truth. Again, super awesome book. You guys have got to give it a try. If I had to rate this one, I'm going to give it full ratings, you know, 10 out of 10. I'd go so far as to say 10.5 out of 10. I'm just breaking the scale here, aren't I? 10 out of 10. It's a super, super good book. Seriously consider it. I loved it. Moving on to the next one. This book here was actually a book I very recently bought. I very recently read it, like about a few months ago. And it really did only come out in like 2021, or maybe it was 22. What I'm trying to say is that it's quite a recent book here. But it's one that I loved, right? It's called A Crooked Tree by Una Menyon. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name right, but oh man, this book is like, if you're a thriller fan, if you're a fan of suspense and, you know, just thrilling mysteries, this book is going to be right up your alley. So once again, I'm gonna read the blurb. Rage. That's the feeling engulfing the car as Ellen's mother swerves over to the hard shoulder and orders her daughter out onto the pavement. Ignoring the protests of her other children, she accelerates away, leaving Ellen standing on the gravel verge in her school pinafore and knee socks as the light fades. This moment is the beginning of a summer that'll change everything. And I feel like blurbs are just a great way to get a feel of the book. This is actually the blurb that got me hooked. Like, it's the reason I bought the book. I didn't know about it previously. I hadn't seen like many reviews. And I was actually at a book fair. I was at a book fair in Dubai, and I saw this book. I read the blurb, loved it. I was like, oh man, I have to get it. It's a really, really good book. It's about these siblings, and something happens. Something happens that summer, and I won't tell you guys because that'll totally be a spoiler. But yeah, something happens, and there's a bad guy, and it's just these siblings trying to solve the problems that they face. It's a really good book. If I had to rate this one, I think I'd rate it also 10 out of 10, very nearly 9 out of 10 maybe. Just because at the very beginning I did leave it for like a few days. I read it and I left it for a few days, but then I picked it back up again because I wanted to know what would happen. But yeah, 9 out of 10, really good book, you guys. Please do give it a try. I certainly loved it, and maybe you will too. Alright, next up, we have a book that was a gift, actually. My aunt bought it for me. And it is a really good book. Again, it's kind of a thriller, so if you're into that, you might enjoy this one. It's called My Sister the Serial Killer. I heard a lot of good things about this book. I think it came out in like 2019 or 2020, maybe? And yeah, I had heard a lot of good stuff about this book, and I knew when I went to the bookstore that this was the one I wanted. It's like about these two sisters, and the other one is, you know, she's everyone's favorite. She's really pretty and talented, and everyone loves her. But she has this thing where she murders people. Hence the name, My Sister the Serial Killer. It's a really good book. If I had to rate this one, I would give it an 8 out of 10 maybe. You probably sense a theme. I'm working backwards with the ones that I absolutely love, and then the ones that I'd like. But yeah, we're definitely working our way down. This one I would rate an 8. I think 8 is pretty good. I definitely liked it. It's a pretty short book. This is how thick it is. It isn't very thick. It's a really good book. It's also pretty funny. I love the cover art here. So yeah. The next book is a classic. I'm pretty sure all of you have at least seen it or heard about it. You've definitely come across it one way or another. It's called Everything Everything. It's a really good book. It's so sweet. That's all I really have to say. It's sweet. I love it. If you're into a little bit more of a teen YA kind of novel, then this is the one for you. If I had to rate this one, I'm gonna be giving it maybe a 6. Yeah, a 6.5, a 7. It's a classic. You're just gonna love it. You're gonna love it. And now comes the final and last book that I have for today, at least. I'm definitely considering making another one just because I have so many more books that I want to tell you guys, I want to share with you guys. To anyone watching, just a lot more books to review. But for now, the very last one that I have is called Love for Imperfect Things. Right here. It's by Heyman Sunim. He's Korean, and it's a self-help book. So right below you can see it says how to accept yourself in a world striving for perfection. I got this a few years ago from Borders, but I hadn't read it until like pretty recently. I loved it. I normally don't read a lot of self-help books. I don't usually even go into the section much, but this time around I'm glad that I did. It's a really sweet book. It's so heartfelt. The illustrations in it, I love when a book has like really good, like just right here. It's really pretty. Each page is like, each chapter is like, you know, a whole different aspect of life. Like for example, you have one chapter covering friendships in your life, and then the next chapter is going to be something like self-care and how to put yourself above everything else. And a different chapter, there was one about family and like familial relationships. And then you have a lot of pretty art and illustrations just going along with those themes, and it was just a very sweet book. I certainly loved it a lot, and if you consider reading it, then yeah, I hope you will too. That's about it. Those are all my books. Literally, I brought some with me, right? So I thought, yeah, you know, I wanted to do a vlog where I just sit and talk a little bit. And I really just wanted to recommend a lot of the books that I had been reading. And yeah, so if you take away anything from this, I would love to hear you guys. If you do end up reading the books, do let me know, do comment or something. I would love to hear what you guys have to say too. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched this far, I'll probably, like I said, be coming up with an aforementioned review again, you know, like episode 2 of Ramezah Reviews, in which we talk some more about books, because I really am an avid reader. I love to read. For the fellow bookworms out there, this is for you.